A year ago, we just wanted to live in a rural area and have supplemental income. We thought we could open in 6 months and only spend under $100,000 to do so.
Boy, were we wrong.
Very wrong. Initially, we just wanted a way to get out of the city. I grew up in the country and we thought it would be a fun thing to do, so we looked at maybe moving to northern Arizona because we love it. The weather's completely nice, the people are very nice, and it's just a really good quality of life. So we thought, hey, let's just see what other people are doing. Why don't we just buy a 1 or 2 acre parcel, put up a small yurt to live in, and then build 3 to 4 glamping sites just to supplement our income. Since Williams is kind of a rural area, I wouldn't be able to work in medicine, which I do. And we just thought, okay, if we had 3 or 4 sites, I could just make my income back and Cole could work remotely as an engineer. So that's initially what we were thinking. And we thought we could open within 6 months of coming up with the idea, which is just completely realistic looking back on it. I actually put in, after we came up with the plan, it was Halloween when we came up with the idea to do this. We stayed up all night long just brainstorming and we were so excited. That following Monday, I actually put in my notice at work and I ended at the end of the year, which does sound a little crazy, but I did hate my job. I worked in geriatric primary care during the pandemic, which was just completely brutal. So I was excited to leave anyway. And I thought we could open this business that following March because I didn't know we had to go through all of the permitting process and everything that we had to do. And I initially was gonna move up there without Cole because he had just started a new job and we didn't really want to risk him leaving or trying to work remotely because this is when the pandemic was first hitting. Remote work was not as popular, so we didn't even think that was maybe even feasible for Cole. And also just looking back on that, I couldn't believe that I thought I could live in a rural community running a campground by myself. It's just completely unrealistic.
Yeah, so our original budget was about $100,000 what we were anticipating, and that was for us to live in a tiny house, to put in some minor infrastructure, and like Taylor said, have 3 to 4 sites. And kind of after going through and looking at what was around there and the Airbnbs that were listed and starting to look through the codes and just doing our due diligence, it became really clear that we couldn't do what we had planned, at least on the scale that we wanted to. And it made more sense to kind of transfer it into something maybe a little bit more legitimate.
So a year into it, we now own a 10.6 acre parcel, which is quite a step up from 1 to 2 acres. We're going to be putting 2 yurts on the property. We're going to live in one and rent one out. And then we're permitted up for 12 sites. So to go from 3 to 4 to 12 is a pretty big feat. And some things have changed, but some things are still similar. I'm still going to be the sole one running it. Obviously, I can't manage 12 sites by myself, so we might have to hire work once we get to that point, but we are doing it in phases, so we might only open 4 to 5 to begin with. And I'm still gonna be the one doing most of the operations, and Cole's actually still gonna try to work remotely at his current job as an engineer. So that's gonna be his main focus, but he'll help out when he can, and I'll be the one mainly taking over.
Our total timeline for this project is about gonna be 18 months or so. And overall, we've kind of adjusted our budget to think it's somewhere in the range of around $400,000, which is quite larger than what we were planning on, about 3 times the timeline and 4 times the budget. But we've really just expanded it and made it to where it's going to make more money as well and be more legitimate and still have a good return on our money.
Yeah, so we've really taken kind of a backyard idea and we're turning it into a legitimate business, which we're very excited about. A year in, my best advice is don't sell yourself short. We initially thought we could have a couple tents up and maybe, make back my income of $40,000. And it did sound like a great idea and it sounded really fun, but what it's evolved into is so much greater. We can have a real legitimate business that we're so proud of. It's permitted, everything's good, everything's legal, and it's going to make quite a bit more than I've ever made in my entire life. So we're very excited and I'm so pleased. It's so funny that people want to bypass the permitting, but by following it, we're creating a way better income for us and a way better quality of life, and overall we're just so thrilled.
And another important thing that you need to think about is that, and that we've learned the hard way, is that you need to stay flexible the entire time you're doing this. You're gonna run into problems, you're gonna go over your budget, and you just need to be flexible in adjusting what you're wanting to get out of your project. And what we're doing, yes, it sounds bad that we're going over what we initially planned. We're going above our budget and we're increasing our timeline. But we're building something like Taylor said that's just way more than what we initially planned. So you can't really compare the two things and say that we've just gone over budget for the same project, because no, that's not true. We've really expanded the idea and are super excited about it.
So now that we're a year in, Cole, would you go back and still proceed on with this project knowing what you know now?
Yes, I think we've gotten actually more excited about this project as we've gone on, and just realized that there is so much market share, and that's why we're trying to really share this with everyone else. Is we're not afraid of actually sharing this idea. There's so much market share out there, and you can really thrive in this business.
So we encourage all of you to just, if you're thinking of something small, maybe think a little bigger. And if you have any questions or need any help, please reach out. We love hearing from all of you.
Absolutely.